So this is my presentation on what I've been doing on my FMP. Start off with, we are starting with my creative and career goals. So in the future I do aspire to be an environment artist, and I think everybody wants to work for a AAA company or indie company, so I'm not really like creative in that aspect, but I do personally want to specialize in more sci-fi type games, so companies like Bungie working on Destiny, which I believe I would strive in a lot more than working for a company that does more fantasy RPG games. So hopefully in the future I can work for a company that does stuff like that. In my technical goals, I do want to improve upon my hard surface modelling skills and get out of the intermediate level that I think I'm working at currently. And I also need to improve upon my texturing skills, which I do need to learn how to better utilize these skills that are in Substance Painter and learn some of the skills that are in Substance Designer to improve upon that. So hopefully over the next few weeks I can start improving upon those skills. What's going to get me in the industry? So after doing some research looking at employment for both senior positions and entry-level positions, many companies are looking for software skills in at least one of three 3D modeling packages, as well as knowledge of a sculpting tool like ZBrush and texturing tools like Photoshop, Painter and Designer. But also some of them are looking for in-engine experience, even if it's just the basic utilization of the file manager and applying your own texture to your own models, making sure they all work. So to better help me with those software skills, I am hoping to better expand my usage from just Blender into Maya as well for my retopology, and I'm also looking to better my understanding in actual Unreal Engine using some of their creative tools that they have in there to better set a scene. Companies are also looking for people who have a good understanding of the PBR pipeline. I believe this is so that the flow of work from person to person, no matter who they hire, is all consistent, all the same. So I do want to further develop those skills in my pipeline and be able to apply them to different types of modeling better. So hopefully that's something I will be practicing. Also, many companies, when it comes to soft skills, are looking for communication and multitasking. Again, many of the roles that I looked at were senior positions, but to be able to multitask and get multiple kind of assets made at one time, doing multiple sprints at a time to increase the output of work, but also being able to communicate when that work is finished, and also be able to communicate if something is wrong with that work, so that steps can be put in place to better move forward on projects. So I do want to develop my communication skills, as that is a area that I do believe I am lacking in, and I also would like to improve on my multitasking skills to see if I can complete an array of modeling and texturing and getting it in Engine in a quicker fashion than I normally do. So hopefully that's something to improve upon. So for my general idea for my FMP, I know that I want to do something more sci-fi, something a bit more, but still a bit grungy, I think, but definitely a lot more high-tech, a lot of smooth surfaces, a lot of like fine detailing, lots of creases, lots of stuff like that, because I find that I enjoy modeling these the most, that I enjoy creating assets that look like this the most, and I want to develop in this area a lot more. So hopefully through these mini projects, I can further develop my idea of what I actually want to do for my FMP. But for right now, my general idea is to go with a more sci-fi industrial kind of feel. So, across the course of my 3 miniature projects, I would like to complete a room of assets. Now, I know it sounds weird, but I want to be able to follow the PBR pipeline, but also further develop my skills as I'm doing so. So I will be breaking my work down into essentially a 6-week sprint, breaking each part of this room down into the main 3 points of sprint. Well, for me personally, where I need to improve upon. So the first sprint, project 1, would be to improve upon my hard surface modeling skills and to also improve upon my blocking out. This will allow me to get the basics of the room created and also give me a better idea of what will need to be adjusted in the second project, as it will be sculpting, as many companies do look for ZBrush skills. So I hopefully will be able to further develop my sculpting skills through certain assets in this room. Not all assets, but certainly quite a few, especially if I decide to do something more like cyberpunky. So I could do like torn up sofas, pillows, brick walls, that kind of thing. And then I will also want to better my skills in um, retopping in Maya, as I do not use Maya, and I know that I need to develop those areas a lot more. So hopefully I can develop my retopping ability in Maya, so I'm easily able to retop assets a lot quicker than I currently do, and also be able to bake those high poly sculpts into the low poly models in Substance to add further detail to my models without adding too much geometry. And then for the final sprint, well, the final section of the sprint will be me texturing, and I will be using hopefully a lot of Substance Painter. I do want to start learning Substance Designer, and I do want to dabble with Photoshop for extremely fine details to make it a lot as crisp as I possibly can. So then these 6 weeks will be me finishing this project, finishing this room project, this room render that I want to create, while also giving me time to further put detail into certain aspects and certain areas, like the first 2 weeks allowing me to hard surface model will then give me enough time to develop my hard surface modeling skills instead of doing lots of shorter sprints. I believe this extended time will help me speed up the modeling process and the sculpting process personally. So hopefully for my FMP, I can, instead of it taking 6 weeks to create a room full of assets, it should take about half the time, as I've already established my pipeline and been able to dabble to get it to work for me. And across these 3 mini projects, it's also a way for me to practice my pipeline, and if there's anything that needs to be changed to make it easier for me, then those changes can be put in place so I can create as much work to as good a quality as possible. And then for my dissemination strategies, I will be using social media like Discord for networking, to join Discord servers full of other 3D artists and developers who are looking for assets. That way I can start talking to people and hopefully branch out into other areas of the games industry. And if people are looking for work, looking for 3D artists, hopefully I can be one of the first people to get there to present my work to them in ArtStation, which is my next tool, which is the most industry standard application for displaying your work that I've found and talked to lecturers about. And hopefully I'll be able to use that to display my renders, which then I can also create video renders in YouTube and then put those links on my ArtStation and also have videos of my pipeline work. I won't put all my pipeline work on there, of course, because that's a lot of content, but it will, I will be able to show employers that I understand the pipeline, how quick I can use my pipeline, and how quick I can create assets to a decent quality, and then also have these beautiful technical renders that they can see on ArtStation. And then I'll be using X for posting updates on projects that I'm working on, and also pushing more of my other social media, like creating a Discord server for 3D artists in particular. I could moderate a Discord server to then push out my own work, but also then get other artists to join in. And if there are developers looking for 3D artists, they can also join these servers and see the work that's being produced by not only me but by other artists. X is a really good tool for that, as although it can be quite particular with the searches you need to make to find people and to find certain content, but once you put those searches in, you will constantly get reminded about them, and you'll see them on your timeline and your feed over and over and over again. So hopefully using platforms like X will benefit and send more traction to my ArtStation and my YouTube, and hopefully people will be able to contact me on Discord and stuff. But I also, for in-person interactions, I will also like to create a business card that would have, as you can see on this little template, will have my name, will have my email address that people can contact me at, will have either a website link that I also am debating on creating, and also have just a visual for my branding. And then I can also add a QR code for my ArtStation, so then if going to places like Guildford Festival, I can then present my work quite easily to people for them to scan this little QR code and then be sent straight to my ArtStation. So hopefully over the course of these mini projects I am able to further I'm hopefully going to be able to further develop and understand my pipeline and be able to not only create assets to a good quality, but also create them in a lot faster fashion than I was creating them before.